members communication that might have a beautiful design in the world, but if you cannot communicate with your client, you might not be able to do a good job. So you look at ways to communicate your design to the client. So interior design is a profession that requires not only excellent design and organizational skills, but also communication and sales skills. On the client is required all the time. Presenting the work well is a vital skill that you develop in one of design. So what should you do? Well, complete professional design constitutes the following. So first you would have the plan and elevation drawing of the space. And the plan would show furniture, so table here, to the correct scale in the plan. And the plan is what you see as if you were a bird looking down a picture. You would have 3D rendered drawings, and these are colored drawings showing the room in a 3D way, would help the client see what you have in your head with the drawing. And many designers now use computer apps much faster, the old-fashioned way by hand. You would have your concept board, possibly. You would do it for sure, but you residential client. You would only show it to a commercial client. And the reason you would show it to a commercial client, like I showed my clients at the hotel, is because they quite often want to use the concept ideas or colors or images in maybe a logo or branding, menus, signage. So they might want to bring the concept through into their space in a commercial way. But you don't need to do that for a person's house. So I would have done the concept boards, but I wouldn't show them to a residential client. But you would show either furniture board or a furniture book, or have an app to show the furniture that you're suggesting and the decorative lighting you're suggesting. You would definitely show that. You would have a sample board, or in many cases, several sample boards. And this is something we're going to talk about in the next presentation, how to do those. And the sample boards are where you show all the actual samples you're suggesting for a room. And you would also have some large loose samples. So you might be able to only put a little bit of the fabric on the sample board, but you want to show the client a larger piece so they understand the texture or the pattern. Or you might want to show them a big tile for the floor, because on the board you can only put a small tile. So you might have some large tiles because you only have a small tile on the board, and you want to show the client the actual size of the tile you're suggesting for their space. So just to recap, you would do the concept, but you wouldn't show it if you're doing a house for somebody, only if you're doing a commercial job. You would have some 3D colored drawings. You can do them by hand, but there are a lot of apps now that you can use. You would have samples that would show tiles and fabric, and you would have pictures of the furniture that you're suggesting for that room. Now, a clear presentation of your design scheme through drawings, presentation boards, and samples also serves as a method for collaborating with your client. Because there is a chance here for your client to say, I don't like that fabric so much. Do you have other options? So it's always good in your large samples to have some extra samples of fabrics and tiles to show the client in case there's something they don't like so much. One of the most difficult parts of interior design for the client is envisioning what a space is going to look like at the end. Designers quite often are able to see that in their own heads, but many clients can't. So that is why showing them a lot of pictures, fabrics, and a 3D drawing will really help them understand what you are suggesting for the space. So how should you present your work? Consider what kind of client do you have. So if it's a commercial client, you might have to do a presentation in the boardroom. There might be 10 people there that will be listening to the presentation. Maybe you have a high-end residential client. I had this, and I never actually met the client who lived in India. So I did all my presentations to their vice president of the company in London, and that person filmed my presentation and then sent it off to the client in India, who would look at it, and then come back to them, and they would come back to me with the client's response. So that was an unusual situation that happened in that way. Quite often, with normal level residential clients, you're presenting in their living room, or on their dining table, or on their kitchen table. It's a more relaxed type of presentation. So, depending who your client is and where you have to do your presentation, this will inform how formal the presentation needs to be, or how relaxed the presentation can be. Also consider what the project brief is. Is it an office space? Is it a hotel? A luxury penthouse? A seaside cottage? Will you be presenting in the boardroom? Will you be presenting at lunchtime at a table in a restaurant while your client, who's a busy executive, has 15 minutes to listen to your presentation while they eat? I've had that happen on 2 occasions. So you have to be very clear about what you want to say when the customer has such a limited amount of time to give you. Or you might be doing it in the client's home, where usually you have a lot more time and it's much more relaxed to give that kind of presentation. Do remember these things. Time is money. Your time is equal to money. Okay? You have to strike a balance between being efficient and being effective. If you are taking too long to source, too long going back and forth to many meetings because your client wants to see another bit of this, another bit of that, another bit of this, you are wasting your time and you are eating up any profit that you put into the fee. So you have to be very clear about how much time you will give the client before you're going to start charging more money. And you need to do that very quickly at the beginning of a project. Be sure to factor in the time you need to create presentations into your design fee. So I have a fee that I charge the client where I am preparing my concept, and I'm sourcing, and I'm doing my drawings, and I figure out how many hours it will take me to do this for a room, and then I will tell the client, well, this is the fee I will charge to do this work, and if you need some revisions, that 2 revisions are included, and if you need more revisions, then you would need to start paying some more money. So when you give them this kind of clarity, they quite often are much better at making decisions quickly. So let's look at digital presentations. Does the client want your presentation to be emailed, sent to other people, which sometimes happens in commercial jobs? Does your client deliver work abroad and want you to deliver a Skype presentation? Do you need to project your presentation onto a screen in a large boardroom? If the answer is yes to these questions, you will need to create a digital presentation. So a digital presentation should be very clear and very easy to process. It should use clean lines, exact dimensions, and scale. There are now many apps and programs which aid interior designers to create effective 3D rendered drawings, concept boards, and create sample boards. Although with sample boards, you still need to show the client the actual sounds, because if they're digital, they can't touch the sounds. Using some or all of these digital techniques for your presentation can be extremely helpful to time-short designers and can help you present your designs clearly and professionally to your clients. Let's look at some of the apps that are available. And there are new apps that are being developed all the time. So we've got Photoshop. So in Photoshop, it can help you create a room that looks like you've drawn it, colored it in, so it gives a more relaxed look for a 3D presentation. Or Photoshop can actually put in photorealistic imagery to help the client see it in this kind of way. And what client couldn't be clear about what you're intending by this kind of 3D presentation? It's very clear what your ideas are. There's an app called Sketch, and in this case, they do it as if it's a model that's been built. And this is the plan of an apartment with the kitchen here, there's a shower room here, a little entry door in the back here, bedroom, and a large living dining space and terrace. So you can read that way on Sketch. SketchUp, this is a 3D app that a lot of design students in the UK learn first, and it gives a good rendition of what you're planning for space as if you've drawn it. InDesign, another app, and this one gives a very photorealistic version. And then let's look at Pinterest. Now Pinterest is an app that I use quite a lot to create private boards for each room I do for a client. And on that board I will put in pictures of the furniture and the lighting and the accessories that I'm suggesting for that room. The client can then look at the pictures and say, yes, I like this, no, I don't like that, yes, I like this, no, I don't like that. So it helps us be collaborative together as to what the final furniture, lighting, and accessories will be in the room. And there are apps like Photoshop or Pages which help you create digital sample boards. So these look very effective. You can see the samples of wood, of tile, of carpet, here, fabric. And it's very clear, it's lovely, it's great for digital presentation, but you must still show the client the actual samples so they can see and feel the texture. Also, the color rendition digitally can change very much depending on what method the client is looking at these presentations. If it's an iPad or a laptop or an iPhone, you might be getting slightly different color renditions. So you still need to show the client the actual samples. And apps like Pinterest, which I use all the time with my clients, is a great way to show clients pictures of the furniture and accessories like you're suggesting. Now, let's look at physical presentation boards. So this is if you're presenting actual presentation in front of clients. So the traditional way to present to clients is to create these actual boards. So you would have a board that shows your plan with the furniture layout. You might have another board that shows elevations. Now elevations are what are happening on each wall of the room. So you can have 4 elevations for every room. And then you would have your 3D drawings. So even if you've done them on an app digitally, you would then print them out and put them on a board, show the 3D color versions of the room. You might have the concept board if it's a commercial client. You would definitely have the sample board for each room. It shows you samples. You would have a furniture board or a furniture book showing all your pictures of the furniture and the lighting. And you would have in a bag or a suitcase extra samples. So the large fabric samples, the large tile samples, options for other fabrics if the client is quite happy with some of your suggestions. So it's that kind of thing that you can bring with you. A physical presentation of boards and samples is a very powerful presentation tool because it gives you the opportunity to have the clients touch things. Okay? They can touch the fabrics. They can touch the tiles. You can show them the drawings close up so they can really look at them. They can ask you questions. You can ask them, is there anything that you're not sure about? And you can have a very close conversation, and the client will then feel like they're very much more involved in the design of the room. You can use smaller A3 boards for commercial clients. I've used those for bedrooms in a hotel rather than the larger A2 boards, which is the standard size, because quite often you only have the same furniture in bedrooms and hotels, but what's changing is just the fabric or the walls or the carpet. So you just need a smaller board to show those. And just to recap on the concept board, once you have selected your concept images, you can print off high-quality color copies of your images, and you can mount them on the concept board. And this is something that you would show to your commercial clients. And you would also take a photo of that, put it on your phone, and use that when you're outsourcing for your commercial or your residential clients. Concept boards should have high-resolution color images, very clear images, have images which are large enough to be viewed clearly, because if you are showing this in a boardroom, your client might be sitting at the far end of the boardroom table, so you need to have images which are quite large. You should double mount your images, and that is that you put the image on a bit of thick foam board, and then you put the foam board on the card. That gives a nice 3D effect. And you should have a very clear title block, which says that it's a concept board, and says who the client is, and it gives your name, and if you have a logo, put your logo on there for your business. Now, with drawings, this is an example of a hand-drawn 3D sketch, which is beautiful, but obviously it takes a long time to do that. And as I said before, time is money, so it's quite a lot quicker now, usually, to do it 3D by a digital application. Drawings are very important for one of your presentation boards to show the furniture layout of the room. And you do this by using one of these 3D apps for hand drawing. Then you print out the drawings and mount them on the presentation. And here we're seeing an example of a sample board. This sample board should show all the key fabrics for a room, the finishes, so if you have tile or concrete effect, your paint colors for your ceiling, your walls, and your woodwork, should show all of these things. And any key items of furniture. Not all the furniture, because you can show that elsewhere. Maybe if you have a sofa with a lovely green velvet, show a picture of the sofa, and then a sample of the green velvet with it. So, for instance, on this sample board, we have wall coverings. We have a little CD like to put in some artwork just to have some character. We have the colors of the walls underneath. We have an accent color on the wall, and the trim color of the woodwork. We have countertops, because this is a bathroom here. We have the bathroom tile and the worktop of the bathroom. Here we have some carpet in the bedroom outside. We have some upholstery fabric on a piece of upholstery. We have some art glass that might be part of the shower screen. Some flooring, and then you have some of the doors. So it's showing you samples of the materials. And here's an example of a furniture board. So here is where you're showing pictures of the furniture and accessories for the room. Yes, that's the key thing on the furniture board, accessories for the carpet, accessories for some cushions. So this way the client will see the samples, and then you will also show them the furniture and how that relates. And this is another way to do a furniture board. So here we actually just show pictures of the furniture. And this is a nice thing to do if you have a plan. You can actually put arrows for the furniture. Here we have the chairs going to the chairs here, the table going to the table here. You can do arrows of where this furniture goes on the plan. And do remember, you must always put your title block on all of these boards. Make the title block the same design on all the boards, so it's very professional. And you always put your client's name first. You put which room it is, usually in the middle, living room or kitchen. And on this side, you put your logo for your business here. There are other ways you can show client samples rather than to do an AG board. And I'm just going to show you a few different ways you might consider doing that. Here you might have a client and you're doing a very rustic house, maybe in the mountains, maybe it's a holiday home or skiing, and you think, well, let's do something a bit more relaxed. So they have done some wooden boards and shown samples in a more casual way. And a way that a lot of designers are now showing their samples is to have a box. And they will show maybe the 3D drawing of the room, and then they put some of the hard samples here, and smaller boards showing the fabrics and the trims. And they'll stack these boards up in the box that relate to the picture. And this is a lot easier to carry around as well. And then just some other examples of sample boxes. This designer has put the fabrics on individual cards, so the client can take them out, look at them, and here they planned up fabric on this creative grid, just different ways. And in this situation, the designer has put the 3D drawings on the board, and then put all the fabric underneath. And under here, you see the concept as well on the board. And here's an example of a very beautifully mounted sample board, where we have an elevation drawing of windows, we have another elevation drawing of the wall, and then coloring through part of it to show some of the colors. We have our type block over here on this side, and then we have all our different samples of fabrics and materials, and pictures of the upholstered furniture that the fabrics relate to. Okay. Do notice how neatly everything is mounted, very precisely, because the client is not only looking at samples, but they're looking at how well it's presented. And if you are not precise with the way that you present it, the client might think that you're not going to take the care when you're doing your job. Some designers like to do a model, but to be honest, this is something that's really going out of fashion with all the 3D apps around to show the drawings of interiors, and doing models takes a lot of time. So I'm just showing you this because some designers still do them, but most designers that I know now do use the 3D apps. And as you are working on your project, you should keep a personal scrapbook, workbook, for your ideas, your thoughts, your sketches, samples of fabric you're considering, all of this kind of thing. And this is for you. This is not something you need to show the client, but it's nice to bring it with you in case you have that kind of relaxed relationship with the client and you feel, okay, well, I can show them some of my thought process, how I came to these ideas. But designers should be doing that for themselves anyway, because you are growing your ideas as the job progresses. And here's just another example of a designer's scrapbook with some of their sketch thoughts, planning layouts. They don't have to be beautiful, they're there for you to explore your thoughts of furniture positions and things like that. So I hope that gives you some ideas of how you might successfully present your projects to clients. Hi, I'm Adrienne Chin, and in this presentation we're going to look at creating a sample board from your color concept. So a sample board is a visual communication tool that you, as an interior designer, can use to communicate and sell your ideas to your clients. And it is a balanced collage of samples for all the materials that you are suggesting for the room. So here is an example. Sample board for a living room We have a picture of the sofa and the piece of the fabric of the sofa. We have the chair and a piece of the fabric for the chair, and this might be a cushion on the chair. We have a light here and some furniture. Here's your tile flooring. Here's a sample of the rug on the tile flooring. We have a little accessory of the plant. This might be wood paneling, some accessory cushions here, ceiling lighting in a mirror, and this designer has put a little drawing here showing how that would look. So the sample board must give a clear impression of your proposal for the decoration of the room. It must be extremely professional with everything mounted very straight and clearly. It must be very neat. It should have labels on each thing, or if you don't have a label saying what it is, you create a key which explains what all these samples are related to. And the sample board is not only a representation of your decorative scheme for the room, it's also a representation of your attention to detail and how professional you are as a designer. So it's not only what you're presenting, it's how you're presenting it. So let's look at how you create a sample board. First, you collect all your samples, so all your fabrics for your furniture, your fabrics for your cushions, your curtains, your window blinds, your flooring or carpet material, paint colors for the walls, ceiling and woodwork, wallpaper samples if you have wallpaper, if you have any metal finishes like brass or copper, if you have any wood samples in the space. You collect all of this first. And then you will select some key pictures of furniture. So any furniture that's covered with fabric, you should certainly include that. And usually one or two other items, like a ceiling light or a decorative plant. So then when you're putting the board together, keep your flooring samples at the bottom of the board, because that's where your floor is in the room. And your key piece of furniture, which is usually a sofa, or for a bedroom it would be the bed, this is usually around the middle of the board. Any ceiling light, if you're putting it on the board, should be towards the top of the board. And you should achieve a good balance by an even distribution of color and texture and images. Use your concept colors to guide your choice of your fabrics and your materials. And when compiling your sample board, as I said, keep your flooring samples to the bottom. Here we have our wood flooring, we have our carpet. And then work your way up. So you have some furniture, chair, table. This is on top of the wood. You've got our bed roughly in the middle of the board because that's your focal point in the bedroom. We have our fabric for our window blinds over here. A large piece so you can see a bit of the color and the pattern there. You would also have a larger piece to show the client so they can see the whole pattern. You have an overhead ceiling light here. A little bit of headboard fabric close to the bed. So you're suggesting this leather instead of this leather. We have fabric for the bench at the foot of the bed over here. Now actually, this fabric should be close to your bench, so it's a clear relationship. Some cushion fabric, and this is the texture of the finish on the wardrobe doors. So this creates a story. So here you'll see a little bit of the map of the way I tend to lay out my samples on a sample board. And I've used the same method for 20 years because it's a very clear way of seeing how things can be put on the board. So let's start on this side. I usually put my wall finish over here, so my main paint color. If I have a bit of wallpaper on one wall, I'll put a bit of it here as well. And I usually put small samples of the ceiling and the woodwork cover here. I've got a sofa here in the middle of the board and the sofa fabric close to each other, and some cushions that will go on the sofa nearby. I have my ceiling light at the top, and whatever fabrics I'm putting on curtains or blinds is over on this side of the board. Then coming down, I might have a chair with some chair fabric, flooring, material, a rug, and maybe a table or something there. And that gives you pretty much the main samples you would have in a bedroom. Okay? So here we're seeing it in actual fact. Curtain material, wall covering, you've got flooring material here with a rug, sofa fabric, stool, white leather for the stool. Now you can save time during this layout process by creating a digital e-board. And this board will save you time by not having to print and cut out images until you know the exact size you need. So how do you do this? Now this is used by using the Pages app. So you might take photos of all your samples, use these in the digital board for placement of your items. Don't make your sample images bigger than your actual samples. So then you open up the Pages app on your iPad, fill the background of your Pages document with the same color of your board. You arrange your images until you get a balanced composition. Make sure that you arrange it so that the dark background is always in the back, and then lock it in. And a digital board will save you lots of time by not having to print and cut out images until you get it right. This is an example. This is a digital board, and this is an actual sample board. So you can work out your design for your sample board digitally, and then you create it actually. There are a few differences between the two. Let's look, they put a mirror here, and they don't have a mirror here. But on the whole, it gives you a nice design for your sample board. And then before you stick down your samples, step back, take a look, go have a cup of tea, come back again and go, yes, this is working, or this isn't working, or I need something else here. Are the samples representative of all the key finishes and materials? Am I missing anything important? Does your board give a good balance of negative space? So what I mean by that is that you should have space between your samples. They shouldn't all be crowded together. Is everything very beautifully cut and mounted, nice and straight? No frayed edges on the fabrics. If you have anything shiny, like mirrors or metal samples, do they have any fingerprints on them that you need to wipe off? So you just assess that everything is looking very nicely ordered and clear and professional. And then here are a few ways to add interest if you think your board is looking a little bit dull. You might change the background color of the board. But I would caution about using an actual color, because you want people to look at the samples, not the color of the board. So I tend to keep the boards quite a neutral color. You might add just a little border with the marker, just add a little touch of a frame. I do that actually all the time. If you find that you don't have a whole lot of samples, you might add a picture of one of the walls. That adds some interest to the board. And you can certainly layer your samples too. Layer them on top of each other. And that creates a 3D dimension on the board, which is very attractive. So choose your presentation boards. Now, if you've got a lot of presentation boards that you're showing the client, you want to keep them all vertical or all horizontal. It looks better than having some vertical and some horizontal. You want consistency. You use a thick mount board, and you choose a neutral background color, like white or beige, possibly black brown. I usually don't. Usually I go for white or beige, sometimes gray. You don't want the board to detract from your color scheme. Okay? Ensure all your boards are the same color as well. So you don't want one board that's dark and the rest that are light. So this designer has chosen a brown wood background to add impact to a rustic scheme. So in this case it's alright because this is for maybe a cabin in the mountains, and it's a very rustic environment. So in this case the brown wood adds to the texture of the building. There are materials that you need to assemble: cutting mat, metal rulers, scalpel, scissors, foam pads for sticking things on, double-sided tape, Velcro, all of these kind of materials. Make sure you have all of these. More spray mount, pencils, etc. So think about all the materials you might need to stick everything down appropriately. mount your photos, furniture on foam boards. A foam board is the thicker, soft board because that gives them a nice dimensional quality on your board. And if the background behind the furniture image is distracting, so maybe you want the sofa but you don't have a blue wall, and that's distracting, you can just cut around that. Yeah. Cut around all of that and then mount it on some white paper and put it on the board. Now, if your sofa isn't red, maybe the fabric you've chosen is green, you don't want to put a red sofa on the board because your client will think you're having a red sofa. So you can either trace over that, put it on white paper, or just photocopy it black and white. And that's fine, because you just want to show the shape of the sofa. So, what do you do with fabric? You take a bit of thin cardboard and you wrap the fabric around the board and stick it with some masking tape. And you do this so that frayed edges of the fabric are not seen. So this is a nice, neat way to show fabric on the board. And then if you have cushions, you do the same method, except you add some of these cotton balls underneath the fabric to give a little bit of a spongy effect for the cushions. Add interest to your sample board by layering your samples. So here, this creates a lovely effect. You can see how they've layered wood and tile samples on top of each other, some fabrics on top of each other. So this creates a lovely 3D effect. So consider doing that if you have a lot of samples as well. So ensure you leave a border of about 2 centimeters around the 3 sides here and 4 centimeters at the bottom. And whether you draw a line or not, leave a border because it gives a nice visual frame to your samples. And why do you leave a higher border at the bottom? That's so that you can put your key information down at the bottom. And your labels, you have to label all your samples, so you can create a key, which is an easy way to do it, print it out on your computer. So you will just start over on this side and move around in a clockwise fashion, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And then you just list them and say what they are: floor tile, wall color, ceiling color, etc. If you don't want to do it that way, or you don't have room for a key, you can just write a label under each item and say what it is. And the title block, well, this is what you put at the bottom of the page. This is a handwritten one. But what you need to put is the client's name. So here we have the property name, Merrifield, but you might put the client's actual name. You put in the middle of the board what the room is. So here, penthouse lounge area. And then on this side of the board, I'm going to go back to show you the client's name. Here it says living room sample board, and then you put the designer's name and logo. And you see it here. Yes? So be very consistent with your labeling on your boards. If you have a commercial client and they have a logo, you might consider putting their logo on the board as well, because that shows that you are really thinking about them and their brand. Alternatively, as I've said before, you can just put the labels under each picture. And in this case, the designer has used red as an accent color in this space, so they thought, well, we'll really make it obvious to the client that red is the accent color, so they've done individual labels of each item and put a little bit of red card under the labels to really make it clear that red is the accent color. And in this case, they put, instead of putting the title block at the bottom, they put all the information to one side. So I hope that shows you how you can effectively create a sample board, showing the samples that you want to show a client for the interior space that you are designing for them. I hope you've enjoyed these color lectures. We've covered things like psychology of color. We've looked at how color is seen. declared that red is the accent. And in this case, they put, instead of putting the title block at the bottom, they put all the information to one side. So I hope that shows you how you can effectively create a sample board, showing the samples that you want to show a client for the interior space that you are designing for them. I hope you've enjoyed these color lectures. We've covered things like the psychology of color. We've looked at how color is seen differently in different cultures. We've looked at the science of color and how color is seen by the eye. Different color harmonies, complementary, analogous, things like that, how designers use them in their interior spaces. We've looked at how color manipulates space. We've looked at color trends and how important the colors from 100 years ago are in current developments in colors for interiors. We've looked at shape, pattern, and texture. And finally, we've looked at how to combine concept ideas to create a concept for an interior, and then how to create a sample board so that you can create interesting interiors unique for your client.